Welcome to Alive on One, a miniature war games and hobby-centered podcast. I'm Nick Shaw, and with me today is Stephen Bork.
How's it going, Nick?
Oh, it's going. Life's busy, you know.
Yeah, and so we just kind of wanted to say, too, today we're going to take a little bit of a break, a little bit from our kind of MCP content. There'll be an episode out sometime next week, diving right back into MCP, but we're just going to kind of talk today a little bit about other games and other hobby stuff we're excited for. We'll talk a little bit about MCP today. We're going to talk about the bands briefly and the new releases that were just kind of announced. But there's some really cool games on the horizons, exciting stuff that's a little bit more fringe, I would say, than, like 40K and AOS and stuff. I guess we could talk briefly about the fact that those games have, or at least AOS has a new edition, but, well, there we go. We spoiled it. But yeah, so September has been really busy for all three of us. So, right now we just kind of wanted to talk about things we're projecting to explore. So, Nick, you want to add to any of that, or?
No, I think that's pretty spot on about what my plan is, right? So
yeah, and so we'll do our normal kind of introduction. In terms of events, so our Alive on One TTS tournament has kicked off. We got the first round. Some really interesting factions in that event. We'll be hosting another one probably relatively soon, I want to say, because I know some people have reached out. I want to say around, if it's October, probably like mid-November, maybe early November. If depending on what happens, we'll start kind of a second one. And again, the winners will get some swag, maybe some dice. We're still working out some kinks regarding that and other events. So in November, again, the Standoff is coming up. We have a big MCT. What is MCT? Marvel Crisis Tactics. Oh, yeah, maybe. But we've got Standoff coming up. I know, Nick, you can't make it, but Steven will be TOing. I'll be playing New Mutants. And if Mephiston comes out on the 8th, so I can actually probably
Ooh, I didn't realize
him.
He was dropping that soon.
Yeah, he's coming out on the 8th. I think Abomination's coming out that same day. If you go to, so for those of you who don't know this, it's kind of annoying, but if you go to AMG's website and then you click on their shop, they'll have, once they have the transmissions, which is their news title, they'll drop the model into their shop and you can click on it to find out the release date. And I believe Mephisto, sorry, I keep calling Mephiston, which I think is actually the biblical the actual name of the devil, of that devil, but I don't remember.
Is Mephiston a 40K character?
Oh yeah, yep, that's where I'm getting that from.
Yep.
Yeah, he's the Blood Angels chaplain or psyker.
Oh yeah, he's the librarian. Yeah,
really cool model too. Also, kind of a devilly vampire looking model. So, but anyways, yeah. So we got the Standoff coming up, November. Want to help me out here, Nick?
I had it written down. I think it's the 17th and the 18th. It might be because I'm gone that weekend. So yeah, I'll be.
Yeah, we got the Standoff coming up on the 17th, 16th through 18th.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and the 17th is the day you can is the singles tournament. There'll be a top 8 cut, I think Steven was talking about, and then everyone else will play something on the Sunday.
Yeah, he hasn't quite worked out exactly what he wants to do with that yet, but I know he's been brainstorming some stuff.
Cool. Yeah. And so that will be, around Thanksgiving. So good time before you see the family to get some gaming in. That's in Portland at the Doubletree, South Portland, Doubletree Hotel. So if you want to stay there or nearby, I don't know the rates at that particular hotel, but there is a room block. you can either reach out on Discord to Steven, or you can email us at aliveon1@gmail.com and just get some of the details on that. And then after that, about a month later, a little over, is Everwinter with Brian, who did want to come on relatively soon. So he should be on soon. Relatively soon. He should be on soon. And topic TBD, but we're looking into talking about Mephisto in a little bit more detail. So those are kind of the two events I think that are up. Once our first TTS tournament's done, we'll be talking about the second one probably shortly after. So stay tuned for that. Cool. So moving on to our kind of normal banter. Nick, any characters that you had recently alive on one?
Well, last night I left Honey Badger alive on one, and that completely screwed me over.
What happened?
Oh, so I had to kill her. What was it I exactly had to do? I needed her gone because if I didn't kill her, Apocalypse was going to be rolling 3 dice, and I think Gambit was as well. So her ending up being a left alive on one allowed him to use her to kill those 2 characters. So, yeah.
Just, she weakens the defense, correct?
Yeah, she's basically an Incinerate that's not an Incinerate.
Yeah.
So God forbid a character also has Incinerate.
Who does?
Nobody did in that particular situation, but it would be like a double Incinerate because of her ankle biter ability.
It's kind of like Shocker with Shock.
But yeah,
double shocks.
Being alive on one allowed my opponent to force Apocalypse to only roll 3 dice versus his normal 4, and it tanked Apocalypse.
He's not a very sturdy model sometimes. Also, fun fact, we will be releasing an Apocalypse episode as soon as possible.
It's got to happen, don't worry.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's cool. Did I have anyone alive on one? I haven't played since Monday. No one of note that I can remember. So we'll say no. No one left on one. Everyone's just a left on 0. All right, cool. So comic catch up for you, Nick?
I haven't read a ton. I did read the newest volume of Void Rivals, which is a Kirkman book.
What?
It's Robert Kirkman's newest, I guess, IP that he's running.
Mm-hmm. So explain that a little bit. Who is that author? What's he known for?
So Robert Kirkman, he's probably best known for The Walking Dead.
Oh, right.
He's also did the Invincible comics, which has got I think an animated show currently going on. But this is like his new sci-fi take, and the basic premise is there's I think it's a ring. I'd have to go back to issue 1, where these 2 groups of people live that have just been warring for centuries, and they don't know what each other look like. But
one ring to rule them all.
Yeah, it's like a ring world. I think kind of like a Halo or something like that. But it's also really cool because I'm a big Transformers fan, and Kirkman got the rights to Transformers and G.I. Joe. So he's been tying Transformers and G.I. Joe into everything, and this is kind of like the overall arc for that universe now.
Oh, cool.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a cool run. I personally, you gave me that Magic comic, and you gave me the Defenders one, or I won it. I haven't read either. But they're on my desk, which is something. So they're visible and in my reading purview. So I'll get to them eventually. They're there.
They are there.
Yeah. And then this will be kind of the opposite setting. I'll start with the hobby catch up because I've actually done stuff. So I've been blasting through my new mutants list. I think I only have 3 characters left to paint for it. So I've painted, and everything was unpainted when I started. So that's 7 characters I've run through. So most recently, I had Sunspot. Oh yeah. So very quickly, if you haven't watched it yet, there's a bat rep on RSMP.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing Jin. and he is running X-Men, and I'm running New Mutants. And the original intent, I don't think it's in the video, was to do kind of like a fun, oh, this is the Danger Room sort of battle. But we both brought competitive lists, so it's definitely a competitive game. We do make some mistakes, but there is we are using kind of like high skill level meta, well, quote unquote meta models for our factions.
Right.
But for that episode, I painted up Sunspot, basically just like quick contrast, and based him. He looked like shit, but I finished him last weekend on Saturday, and he looks phenomenal now. And Steven and I are going down there soon in October, so look, early November we'll probably get some bad reps out of that visible. But we're running, well, I don't know what we're running, but essentially I know I'm going to play New Mutants, and so look for Sunspot to be cooler looking.
I don't know if he really cares if we mention it, but I think his plan is to run something new, so you might see either Apocalypse, or if he manages to get the monsters
painted
early and painted, there's a potential of that, but getting models early is probably not going to happen. So.
And then Jin is going to play Steven as well, so that will be an interesting match. Not sure what Jin's going to use, but because Jin and Steven both play Shield, and then Jin plays Webs as well, pretty prominently. So yeah, we'll see about that, but we'll at least have a couple of new things. I mean, maybe you'll force me not to use New Mutants because I just use them, but we'll see. So look out for that. That'll be coming. That current bad rep is out on YouTube. I'll put a link in the episode description. It's a really good game. I don't know if you've watched it yet, Nick, or not, but
I watched about half of it.
Well, that's where it starts to get good. So
yeah, it's pretty
gotta watch the rest.
It's just nice seeing a spoiler of Venom being played. That wasn't.
Oh, yeah. So side tangent. Jin and I have been playing after that game. Him and I like connected as friends. Coming together in this community, and we've been playing a lot of TTS on the back end. And him and I have both been talking about how cool Venom is in New Mutants. He just somehow fits for the faction. Which is cool. And on a side note, I do want to make a note here. Our we might, I know we talked about, Nick and I have talked about and Steven have talked about the idea of like revisiting factions that we covered. It's not enough time yet. It's only been a couple months since each episode was released. But on that kind of note, I re-listened to the New Mutants episode, and there's a lot I would change or go differently with now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool how that happens. But that's going to happen with newer factions. So, but yeah, stay tuned for that bad rep. Unfortunately, Nick can't make that date, but I'm sure you'll be on one within the next 3 months or so. So
yeah, that's the hope, right?
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, that's my hobby and kind of New Mutants and Venom, and Black Dwarf. And Taskmaster, so I guess there's a lot of splashes in my list. But
I didn't. You had a Taskmaster in there?
Yeah, because he's got the Rogue Agent.
Oh yeah.
And he's a really solid 3 versus. So it's between. Yeah, I guess we'll just talk about this briefly. It was between X-23 and Taskmaster, and I was like, you know what? I just like that long range kind of pinging damage before people can get into position.
Yep.
So he's in there now. And he's unpainted, so I have to work on him. But yeah, and you said you hadn't done that much.
No, the most I managed to do was prime up Apocalypse and Archangel. So
cool. Yeah. Apocalypse looks like a blast to paint.
I definitely think he's going to be a fun one to paint.
You know what? I might actually go buy him after this episode. Just to paint him. I really wanted to paint him a while back, so... plus I like Apocalypse a lot. He's one of the characters I actually follow.
Yep.
In the comics. I'm not a huge fan of the playstyle, but yeah, you and Steven will dive into that more.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. So any other kind of like tidying stuff? I know actually we got on side tangent with New Mutants, but it's a podcast. Suck it.
No, I don't think so. We've kind of hit our intro stuff. I can't think of anything else. We've talked about what we're going to do today. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All the events, we said them all. I always freak out that we haven't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There's nothing past Standoff for like in-person events.
Yeah. Not in New England. Or not in person in New England that I know of. So
yeah.
There might be a couple in Connecticut for our Connecticut listeners. I think there's one at the that may have just happened last weekend. One at the Battle
Standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So come to Standoff because there's a little bit of a lull of events, and then go to come to Standoff, win Standoff, and then you get a free ticket to go to Ironworld.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Or sorry, Everwinter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, cool. Now on to some cool things. So we'll start off. So today's topic, Nick and I just want to kind of talk about like other things we're really excited about. Take a little hiatus, or not hiatus, because literally next week there'll be an episode about MCP, but take a little just breather and talk about other games we're excited about. As we mentioned a long time ago in our kind of like intro episode, Steven, I just almost called myself. I was referring to myself, but that gets confusing here because there's two Stevens. But as mentioned, in our intro episode, Nick and I, Steven a little bit, but not as much, except for one game that we'll talk about. But Nick and I play or gravitate towards a lot of games. I think we're doing really well, though. I think about cutting down the amount.
Oh
yeah. So we each have like an army of something to play. But it used to be, even with my old world collection, I'm selling my Bretonians, right, just to have the one army. Even from a painting perspective, it just gets too much when you own more than one for a game you play like every 3 to 6 months. So,
agreed.
But anyways, so recently Nick and I, we're gonna go over the MCP stuff. So, and with MCP, so we'll just touch on briefly. There's been some interesting bans. Take a look on AMG if you haven't yet. List. So the big one is that, what's that mission name, Nick?
Researcher?
Yeah, Researcher was banned.
Full name? I don't know.
Restricted.
It was restricted.
Yeah. That was restricted, and then the Brothers in Arms card. Those were the two main ones, which actually is pretty impactful. And I do want to say thank you, AMG, because you started to see in like mid-September, early September, every faction just splashing Thor and Bill. On Researcher in particular. And at least now you have to make some difficult choices. It may not be as difficult as maybe I want them to be, because the new Thor is not ideal. But
he's still good, right?
Yeah.
I think their AMG's real issue they were trying to solve was the skyrocket in win percentages you saw with Asgard.
Yeah,
and
but that's because of Loki too.
Yeah, so the big thing they're trying to solve, I think, with their those two restrictions was on a 15, you take Loki 2, you take Thor 2, and Bill, and it's just brutal, like almost impossible for other people to deal with because it's just
that 15's oppressive.
Yeah,
and it does also weirdly reinforce the state of the game where people are going super wide. Because if you see that, you see Asgard, or, before even still now, arguably, but if you see that kind of lineup, you're more than likely like, okay, well, they're only going to have 3 characters. I can't kill them all.
Right.
And honestly, there's something to be said about like activation efficiency when you have, 5 or 6 characters on a 15 versus 3.
Yeah.
That's almost double the amount of actions you can take. So, but yeah, good job on AMG for really kind of nipping that in the butt before we ran into like a Malekith type meta where you just constantly saw that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it really actually solves the issue, because they can technically still take those 2 cards. They're just now limited on their other restricted cards, right? So
yeah,
we'll see how much it actually changes.
I mean, that would make people decide to play higher threat level missions all the time. So no matter what you're doing, if in the case, because like you think about it, right? You roll the dice. Say the Asgard person gets priority and picks their secures. If all your extracts are like 18 plus, now you've got options.
Right.
So versus or you roll and you see that mission or the 15s in his secures and you get priority. And then you're like, okay, we're not doing that. So there's like play around it. So I don't know if we'll see that. Just because if you're banking on that game plan, again, your opponent can kind of play around that.
Yeah, it's weird. Researcher's a weird secure anyways, because it's an extract. It's a weird is it? Now yes. My brain's like,
it's an extract.
Okay. Yeah. So it's a weird one because you're not actually extracting it,
it's more of a
pushing it. Yeah,
it's like a double secure almost when you pull that one.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I've played it a lot, like, because I like it. For certain missions.
And like it's gotten a lot of flack. If you are unaware, it's gotten a ton of flack in our community. Like for example, one of the top players, Mike DeLuca, his like Longshank's little middle name is Ban Researcher.
I didn't know that. That's
yeah, and he's like he's been around for a while and kind of a vocal voice in the community. So yeah, I saw that a long time ago, and that's how I've always remembered his name.
That's great.
But anyway, so those kind of bans happened. I think they were more just adjustments to some of the new models rather than kind of bans. Nothing major shaking things up. I know we're supposed to get new crises. Have no idea when those are coming out.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, those will be cool. I'm really hoping for like a New Mutants one, something they just play really, really well on.
Yeah.
Because some of the missions I'm noticing are not ideal for them. But anyways. And then after that, so we have a lot of new releases coming. So in our TTS league, we did allow the monsters because there are mods for them. I don't think they're not out till the 1st.
Yeah, they dropped the 1st.
Yeah, so we have a full month before those are out. And we have all the stats. They're really cool. So Nick, you can dive in a little bit to that.
I don't have them pulled up in front of me. I just know I'm really excited about them. It's going to be interesting. So because they're different, right?
Yeah.
They're kind of more obscure unless you're a real Marvel fan. Most of those characters you're probably not going to know a lot about.
Maybe besides Dracula.
Yeah, maybe besides Dracula. I mean, people might know Werewolf by Night because of the, I guess it's like a short film that Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm. That came out like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, it's fairly old at this point, so people might know him a little bit. Even I don't know where Frankenstein is in the Marvel lore. I also
someone can email us.
Yeah, someone could email us. There's also I don't really know where the Mummy appears in the Marvel lore either.
With the Rock.
Okay.
The Scorpion King. That's where he comes.
But
I pulled that reference out my ass.
I know of Dracula. I know of Werewolf by Night, and I know of Man-Thing, which is not releasing on the 1st, but is coming out later with Elsa Bloodstone, who is also in the Werewolf by Night short film. So people will have a little bit of an idea of who these characters are, but I do think they're more obscure than most of the stuff we've seen.
Yeah, and what's cool about them, too, is they are obscure as Marvel characters, but they're also really popular kind of, generalized characters, like Dracula, a werewolf, a mummy,
Your horror
Frankenstein.
buffs will just love it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right?
And it brings that kind of dimension that, what's the gaming term for that?
Oh, God. I don't know.
I don't know. There's some kind of horror gaming term that I'm blanking on right now. But it brings that kind of horror element to MCP, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So,
because I'm excited. They're going to be fun.
Yeah. Rules-wise, are you excited for anything?
I really think Dracula looks like he's probably going to be a little bit of a menace on the tabletop. He is a 5 threat, so you kind of expect them to be a little bit of a menace, but they're not always. He looks fun. He's got ways to heal himself. The fact that I'm going to be able to yell out "bat."
Oh yes, I forgot. So, fun fact: Nick, Steven, and I are all big fans of what we do in the shadows. So
great show, love that show.
Yeah,
but not having his rules pulled up in front of me, it's hard to really know. But the fact that he has a rule where he can turn into bats and you can just yell "bats," and then he can fly is going to be great. Also, that's that cool. Terrain piece is gorgeous for anybody that's like really into just hobby projects. Like it's
now we can. That's another thing too. Is like it opens up that space to make a really cool horror style table.
Yeah, and I don't know how big that piece is going to be, but I think the price is sitting around $170 is what I was told.
Jeez.
So I expect it to be a pretty big terrain piece.
Yeah.
So.
Maybe a whole table.
Yeah,
for that amount of money. And so that's coming out. That'll be really cool. We'll probably dive deeper into that at some point, especially in combination with Midnight Suns.
Mm-hmm.
Abomination's rules were released yesterday.
I believe so.
Yeah, and he looks pretty solid. I haven't dived too deeply into him. Because they're releasing a lot of 5s. Yeah, he's a 5.
Yeah. I was going to bring up the fact I feel like there's a ton of 5 threats.
Yep. They're releasing a shitload of them.
Even in the monster box, there's 2 5 threats because Werewolf by Night is a 5 threat and so is Dracula.
It's weird that they're moving that way right now.
But but there's a lot of 4 threats, right? I think 4 threats kind of take up the majority of characters in MCP.
Well, they released a lot of 3s in the first. No, it's 3-4.
Is it 3-4?
I think so, because they released a ton of 3s over the past 3 years.
Yeah.
And then recently they've been adding kind of like thicker models. So one thing I was kind of cool about Abomination is he's going to be criminal affiliated, which brings criminal in this spot. They've got a lot of new stuff. So Nick and I were thinking about, we're brainstorming topics for today. I mean, we're thinking potentially about talking about Criminal Syndicate, and because I have some play with them a while ago. Oh, well, you know what? I think I say a while ago, but that was just like last January.
So we're coming up on a year, but not quite.
No, like I think I stopped playing them in like April, so it hasn't even been that long.
Yeah, it hasn't been that long. Yeah.
Or not stopped playing them. I just kind of pivoted to other things. Yeah. But but they've had a ton of, all the spider foes that were released are criminal affiliated. Loki is criminal affiliated. Now Abomination will be criminal affiliated.
I believe they're a little Dracula is also criminal affiliated. I think so. Don't quote me on it, but I believe he is.
That kind of makes Shadowland Daredevil interesting.
Yes.
I might. No. Steven, you're playing New Mutants for now. You have to stop yourself sometimes. But that would be really cool. They're all 5 threats, which is really the issue. Because, realistically, when you're list building, you take maybe 1, maybe 2 of those.
Yeah.
But anyways, so we're not recording about criminals because there's just so much new stuff. I need a little bit more reps and to play around with the list.
It would become outdated pretty fast, right? Like,
well, we'll wait till all the stuff comes out, and then maybe if I can get some games in, maybe December or something when they've had some time to develop.
When life slows down a little bit.
Yeah, December, that for me too. Yeah. So that's all coming out. After that, I think we're due for some new character spoilers.
I think so.
So maybe look out for this, probably this month sometime within the next 3 or 4 weeks, we'll get some spoilers for like their next round of like November, December characters. So hoping for a New Mutants box personally with, Danny Moonstar and Cannonball. Ideally, I would want those 2. And honestly, something that actually like plays off their leadership. Sunspot plays off their leadership really well. But Warlock's kind of just a standalone piece.
He's kind of annoying. I've played against him a couple of times, and he's actually pretty annoying.
Yeah, no, I dropped him from my list initially, and then he's been in my list for the past 5 or 6 games. He aced Thanos on his own.
That's fact. Impressive.
I know, I was like, whoa. He spiked, but to be fair, he can kill Thanos, which is cool. So, And then he eats and heals. He's a really cool model. But anyways, so moving on from MCP, let's talk a little bit about our true passion. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, because there's a lot of stuff going on in general with that, not just in gaming. So I guess we'll briefly start off. Nick and I are huge Lord of the Rings fans. Not sure if Steven is, but we are at least.
I think he is.
I don't know how deep he goes, though.
Yeah,
you never know with him.
Yeah.
He'll like randomly be like, "Oh yeah, I love that," blah 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 blah, and you're like, "What?"
I do think he is a Lord of the Rings fan because I bought I think it came out on the 4th. What's today? Yeah, so it comes out today, but I managed to sneak a little peek of something early, and Steve bought 3 copies of it. When it released yesterday.
And he loves trees and stuff.
He does love
he always
trees,
buys the tree theme models. So,
but there is a game that
I'm guessing that
I bought yesterday, and he saw that I had it, and he was like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's Lord of the Rings Duel," I think is what I picked up. And he was like, "Well, that looks cool." So he bought himself a copy, and I think 2 other friends a copy. So.
Oh wow, nice,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
let's talk. Oh yeah, so we're huge Lord of the Rings fans. This is what we're saying, I guess. Steven is probably a closeted one, but I think I quoted Lord of the Rings the other day to some colleagues of mine. So there you go. That's how deep it runs. But Nick and I recently, we're both I know you haven't gone very far, but we're both rereading the trilogy. Amazon's show just ended. I don't know. We won't talk about that, but
we're gonna stay away from that.
Yeah. But besides that, there's some exciting stuff with the strategy game. So from Games Workshop. So, I know I've kind of always dabbled.
Yeah.
But so I've been dabbling in exploring Nick, I've always talked to you about wanting to play a miniatures game, and the only one that's out is GW's.
Yeah.
For Lord of the Rings. So I don't know. I've bought it before 3 times, I think, at least
3.
Yeah, I've sold it every time. The models are sick. It's just like you buy the game and the rule book's massive in normal GW fashion,
right?
And I don't know. It's just like a lot for a game you're going to not play that much. I guess like the same could be said about Heresy, but
well, I think the issue you run into is you only have so much time for even games that you're not going to play too much, right? So you kind of got to pick and choose. Am I going to play Lord of the Rings, or am I going to want to play Heresy?
Yeah, or MCP for that matter.
Right. So. But like, I almost don't even consider MCP in that situation because we just play it so much.
That's true. Yeah.
Right. Like,
yeah, these are more like casual or side games.
Yeah, they're like your side game that you really are into, but there might not be a lot of like interest from other people or and I know a lot of that will have like to do with what region you're in or what country you're in and stuff like that.
Or what game you just resonate with in general,
right?
Too. Especially like play-wise sometimes. Because sometimes the universe can be like really cool, but the games just either like take too long. Like that's the big one for me for Heresy is like that game just takes so long.
Yeah, it's a minimum 3-hour commitment probably.
Yeah,
at least.
Yeah, and
that's
I don't
probably
have that all the time.
That knows the rules really well.
Yeah, exactly. And I know people play like 40K competitively, but you know, over time, the people I know have gravitated away from those longer games, except for once in a while, just because they take so much time.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting thing. So I met with a friend yesterday, and I played War of the Ring, which is a 2-player board game. It's a longer board game, so I think it's like you're probably playing 3 hours of that board game.
Oh, wow.
But I don't know if it's an age thing or what, but to me, that was more compelling and more interesting than playing 3 hours of 40K now.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting. I like 40K, like occasionally. I get like a game in every now and then, but
yeah, don't get me wrong. I do really like 40K. I like the lore. The Space Marine game just came out, so I'm really I kind of want to play some 40K.
I haven't been able to play that. I bought a PS5 specifically for this game. I haven't been able to play it all week.
But yeah, I think it comes down to these bigger games. Like, you really got to nail down, all right, which one do I want to play more? Because it's a time investment. We only have so much time in a day. So you kind of got to know what you want and what you prefer and make those decisions.
Yeah, but that shifts too. Like, I don't think you have to think about it that much. It's
but it's something just to be like kind of conscious of, and especially when you're throwing money at something.
Right. That's kind of the issue. So we're talking about Lord of the Rings. We're on that topic. The Middle Earth strategy game's coming out with a new edition, and Nick and I have been sending each other pictures. So that's how it starts, folks.
Yep.
But to be fair, too, what's nice about the Lord of the Rings is that, like, you and I both love that setting so much that even just having those models to paint would be really cool.
Yes.
Even having them just kind of sit, like some of our favorite characters, like I know offline we were just talking about, like, I was like, I really want to just paint Sauron. I didn't know they had a Necromancer model for him, which is even cooler. You were talking about painting the Riders of Rohan, and then
Glorfindel. There's a really cool model for Glorfindel. There's a brand, well, I don't know if it's probably a couple years old now, but there's a new Elrond model that's really cool.
Yeah, on the horse. I've actually bought that one before. And I'm really cool.
I love Elrond. Like, from the moment I saw those movies as a kid, before I actually read the books, like, Elrond, for some reason, was one of my favorite characters.
You saw the movies before you read the books? That's not as cool.
It's not as cool, but there's a whole story behind why, but it's not worth going into.
Yeah. Well, maybe it is, because Lord of the Rings is pretty dope.
Yeah.
So this game's coming out because there's a new animated movie coming out in December, which, fingers crossed, is well done. At least even just story-wise. I don't even care if they follow, like, what Tolkien said that much, but
it's based on Rohan or Rohan.
Yeah, it's a couple hundred years before the War of the Ring.
It's hard to really say based on the trailers exactly how they're going to focus in on it, but it's taking place in that time of Hammerhand.
Yeah.
That'll
a couple
be really
hundred years before the War of the Ring.
And depending how they do it, it could be really cool. I'm reserving judgment because it's not out yet, but
yeah. I also think, like, it's something, right? And it's animated, which is different, which I kind of like, because the only other animated Lord of the Rings stuff we have is like that 70s, 80s Hobbit and stuff. Yeah. Which that's actually the first thing I saw after reading The Fellowship.
Really?
Yeah, it was those animated movies. Well, the trilogy wasn't out yet when I was really young.
Yep. I don't know if I've actually watched those old animated ones all the way through.
They're fun. You probably enjoy them. Just watch them with your kids, because they're, like, kind of hokey like that. But so this new game, they're to follow that kind of movie. And actually, Games Workshop might no, that's not true, because they have, like, second age characters sometimes. I was going to say they may only have the rights to the movies.
I don't know. I think they have the rights to a lot of it, because they have
like second age characters.
They do have second age characters, they've had them for a while. Like,
yeah. So who knows? But
also,
anyway,
I don't think they would be able to make a Glorfindel model, because he doesn't appear in the movies. So they definitely have.
He's only book.
Yeah,
and they have Tom Bombadil, who's the only book. Yep. So yeah, they must have some kind of, like, heavier IP with them. IP rights. So. But they're releasing this box set and a new edition of the game surrounding this new Battle of Rohirrim. And it looks, for lack of a better term, it looks fucking sick. So
yeah.
And I do know that I've heard through people that the Lord of the Rings game is the most balanced by Games Workshop, rules wise, affiliation wise, and it doesn't change that much. Kind of like unlike 40K or AOS, so they do a tighter rule set, I think, for it. I'll probably end up buying it again. I don't know. Let's just be honest here.
Well, you're gonna have to tell me which army you're getting, because
yeah, my thing might probably dwarves, to be honest, or elves. I really like the elves.
Elves are cool. Which ones, though? Are we talking high
I don't know,
elves?
man. I haven't thought about it that much.
Markwood?
Probably both. all the elves. I don't know. I also love the dwarves. I really love the dwarves they feature from The Hobbit. The ones on boars. I love
cool
that.
Looking,
yeah. So, but they'd be a bitch to paint. So maybe I'll just actually the coolest things in most like my paint style are probably some of the more evil models because they got that grittiness.
Yeah.
They do. I'll have to find it online probably, but they do have the old Sauron from Second Age where he's like fully clad in his metal armor.
Yes, they do. That's an older model, but I think it holds up all right.
It looks pretty sick. And
unlike some other ones we were talking about.
Yeah, very true. Like Galadriel. We'll just note here, don't buy Galadriel.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, but so that's coming out. And then there's that board game you mentioned, which sounds pretty cool.
Yep, so War of the Rings is actually an older game. It came out in 2011. But it's great. It's very good.
Yeah, and they just released a new card game, too, for Lord of the Rings.
And so the newest game they released, which I was talking about Steve bought after seeing me buy it the other night, is, I think it's called Middle-earth Duel. I don't think they actually use Lord of the Rings in the title, but it's Lord of the Rings. And for people that have played Seven Wonders Duel, which is one of the highest rated board games on Board Game Geek, and it's a phenomenal 2-player game. And this game is very much that game, but Lord of the Rings themed. It's great. I've played it.
They sell it at every hobby shop imaginable, would you think?
You could probably find Lord of the Rings or the original Seven Wonders Duel. I would almost guarantee you'll find everywhere. The Lord of the Rings one, I don't know. My assumption is you'd probably find it at most of your like board gaming stores, but
yeah. Well, I know, so after this, I'm going to go I'm making a list. Apocalypse in the Middle-earth Duel. Cool, though. So, yeah, we're really excited about Lord of the Rings. Nick and I actually text a lot about that.
Yeah.
I know we only talk about Marvel mostly on here, but there's a lot of behind-the-scenes nerdery going on, so.
That's true. And Lord of the Rings is kind of hot right now. It's kind of back in both of our heads.
Yeah. Well, when you reread those books too, you kind of get sucked into the universe. So,
and also Andy Serkis as a narrator. Yeah. It's amazing for those books.
Is this your first time? Did you read the books through him before?
No, this is the first time I've used audiobooks.
Isn't he
for them?
They're on a realm of their own, like versus reading the kind of novels.
Yeah, like his narration's amazing, and it's really great when you get to those Gollum scenes because he voiced Gollum in the movies. So.
Yeah, so he sounds just like him. It's actually creepy. So sometimes I'll listen to audiobooks as I'm falling asleep.
Yep, me too.
And there's been a few occasions where Gollum comes on. I'm like, oh my god, it's like eerie. And the Andy Serkis, if you haven't checked them out yet, the Lord of the Rings Andy Serkis books, they're on Audible and iTunes books. They're in a realm of their own, and I definitely think for even like long-time readers of Lord of the Rings, if you haven't checked out the Andy Serkis books, they're amazing. So
they're really fun.
Yeah, and so we'll leave Lord of the Rings aside for a different nerdom. So a few months back, our local game store, or one of them, for me, Crossroads, we've mentioned it before, up in Maine, they had kind of a demo game, and Nick came back from playing this and texted, and we found out a whole nother side of Stephen Maddox that I did not know existed. And that's because Nick played this demo of this new Star Trek game from WizKids, I think.
Yes, it's WizKids. It's called Into the Unknown, I believe is the actual subtitle for the game. Mm-hmm. So Star Trek Into the Unknown. The demo kit that I messed around with has for you Star Trek nerds, like probably a lot of other people won't know who the Defiant is. So it's basically the good guy ship. And then one of the bad guy ships. Who was the bad guys? I'm trying to remember.
Klingons?
No, it was from, is it the Dominion? It might be the Dominion. Let me look real quick. I know it's not the Klingon. It's the Dominion, yeah. Okay. So that first set is going to have Dominion stuff, and That'll be cool. I know they have Romulans and Klingons on the horizon. It's gonna be fun. It looks cool. I'm really
so
excited
to get a little
about
bit into the gameplay too. So this is releasing October 30th. It got pushed back a little bit. It was supposed to come out in September.
Yeah, it's been pushed back a couple times, I think.
Yeah. So right now the projected date on their store is the 30th of October. So, but for those of you who like flying spaceship games, so like think kind of X-Wing. It's more X-Wing than Armada, I'd say, although it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, it's got the capital ships, so I think it's a little like Armada-wise, so it's the bigger ships.
Yeah. But they've done a really cool thing game design-wise where you kind of play on this 3x3 mat. That's typical, right? Mm-hmm. But you have this like circle where you're actually battling, and then on the outskirts of this, only when you enter the circle do you actually can you attack and things like that. But on the outskirts, kind of true to the Star Trek franchise, is you get to do these other kind of exploratory missions. Yeah, where I'm guessing you're getting resources.
Yeah, I think it's going to be dependent on mission. But the way I thought of the circle is okay, so inside the circle is you're kind of in a space system, you're kind of just cruising around at
you come out of hyperdrive or something,
right? You come out of your hyperspace, and then when you're outside of the circle, you're in hyperspace, so you can kind of send a ship out into hyperspace to do missions, or if it's just getting beaten down by your opponent, it could warp out of system to kind of have a chance to try and do some repairs and stuff like that. It's really cool. The rule book is a little hard to follow, so it'll be interesting. But
it looks it does look like one of those games that you could take narratively, but also kind of competitively.
Oh yeah. And for me, I love spaceships and I love Star Trek. So this is going to be great.
And fun fact too, for Nick and I, we both own more than we probably should of X-Wing.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I love that game. I'm sad that Armada and X-Wing are gone. I'm hoping this will fill that void and maybe even be better than the two of them. We'll see. Yeah.
And to be honest, there's not much on the market now that X-Wing's gone for flying spaceship games. No. If GW ever taps into Battlefleet Gothic,
oh man, I'll be jumping on that bandwagon.
Yeah, I played that as a kid. I would absolutely spend probably thousands of dollars to replay that. So,
but
also fun fact: Battlefleet Gothic 2 on Steam is really good.
It's great. Yeah, Battlefleet Gothic's just fun. Who doesn't want to fly around a giant church, shooting up other giant churches? Anyways.
But the original Battlefleet Gothic had Eldar, had Necrons, had Tau. Yeah, so had tons of stuff. But anyways, back to a different unit.
Back to Star Trek. But yeah, so I played, it was the demo kit, and I think Steven actually has that demo kit at his house. He went to our local shop and he was like, "Can I take this?" And they were like, "Sure." So, he took it home, and I think he's been messing around with it and gawking over the little Defiant ship and the Dominion ship. But anyways, the core set that's coming out is a Federation versus Dominion one. So they're kind of setting their time frame in the DS9 era, which was the big era where
I'm not a huge Star Trek fan
with the Dominion and stuff. So it makes the most sense, I think, for the start of this game, because it's kind of when the Federation kind of really started getting involved in more wars and stuff. Because the big thing about Star Trek was always more exploration than actual fighting. So, whereas DS9, there was a war that actually started happening and the Federation ended up getting involved. So this is a good jump on point, I think, for a war game involving Star Trek stuff.
Cool.
I'm super pumped about the starter set. I'm a huge fan of the Enterprise D's design, and it comes with an Enterprise D.
And all the models are fully painted too.
Yes.
If that's appealing.
And the Enterprise D actually, so I've never seen this done in another Star Trek miniatures game before. I think Attack Wing back in the day was one. But the ship actually comes in two parts, because for people that don't know, the Enterprise's D saucer section can kind of separate from the ship and be its own other ship. So that'll be really cool. I think it's going to be an interesting gameplay mechanic where you have this big ship that's all of a sudden two smaller ships. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
The gameplay. So I read some of the rules, but that was months ago.
Yeah.
What feels like a different life.
Yeah.
And it has pretty cool game design, I think.
Yeah.
So for those interested, check it out. You can, I think we'll try to put some links to some of these in our description. So we'll link up to the starter set. Yeah, and then so we were gonna kind of mention Old World here. I don't know. Nick and I. So Chaos just came out for Old World.
Yeah. I love Old World. I love that game. I feel like we've kind of fallen behind trying to keep up with it just because of, life and other game systems.
Yeah. Well, also, controversially, we'll just mention this here, whether or not this warrants some mention in like episodes where we're talking about competitive games versus non-competitive games. For some reason, so when this is going to be controversial. Yeah, I'm just going to start off that way. But, and this is our opinion, we don't, however you play your games, it's ultimately up to you. But that being said, the context there, everyone's right. You're playing a game, right? It's all make believe anyways.
Right.
So, when Old World first came out, Nick and I had some pretty long discussions about whether or not it should be competitive.
Mm-hmm.
And the more we read the rules, the kind of more reps we got on the table, the less we thought it should be competitive. And we kind of put it in that bucket with Heresy. That it should be more of a narrative game, really fun. The missions suck. So I'll just be straightforward. The missions are not that interesting unless you kind of tweak them on your own.
There's not a ton of variation. No,
and it's all just kind of killing stuff and not holding any objectives. So I mean, that does provide the incentive to make a really competitive game, but then it's just about murder, and that just becomes uninteresting to me.
Yeah.
But all that being said, we kind of both ended up agreeing that this is more of a casual or narrative, or should be played more narratively.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, it's this really competitive game when you go to an event. So I don't know. That kind of turned me off from going to events.
Yeah. Especially the way we treated it. It's more let's just have fun and have some orcs and dwarfs kill each other.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't want to go and get stomped on. I just want to kind of enjoy my cool rank and file game.
Yeah.
And this can be said about any game. I know that, but I guess one thing I'm touching on here is when you encounter a game system, it's after playing MCP for so long competitively, if it's not tight and it's really loose and very interpretive and the missions are uninteresting, I don't know, it kind of belongs, in my opinion, in that kind of more narrative bucket.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what happened. It ended up taking off competitively and not narratively, which is just weird to me because of Heresy existing.
I don't think I've ever seen Heresy played as a competitive game.
It's all narrative events.
I think most people, they treat it really maybe too seriously sometimes as a historical.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a different issue. But yeah, it's definitely when you go to a Heresy event, you're oh, cool, we're going to have battles that are thematic, that are kind of circled around events in the Heresy books.
Yeah. And
I know there's not a deep depth of, there's not as much, well, there is a lot of lore behind Old World, but there's not as much no, there is. There actually, I take that back. There's not as many books, but there's definitely events you could play out within Old World itself based on the kind of timeline. But so Nick and I kind of dropped off. Chaos did come out. We do want to mention that. It is a fun ass game, especially if you don't take it too seriously, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to play it again, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, my roommate bought Wood Elves, a Wood Elf army, and we just kind of when we have time, that's one of the games on our list.
But it's also one of those games that it's a commitment of time, right?
It's it's 3 or 4 hours at least, especially if you haven't read the rules. If it's your first game, might take. I think our first game took us 4 or 5.
Oh yeah, we were there freaking all day. I think it was an MCP day, and we didn't even end up playing MCP. We're oh, we'll get there early. We'll be done in time for MCP, and it just didn't happen because it's
Yeah. Yeah, you just cut out a little bit there.
Oh, did I? Oh.
So, Yeah, but yeah, it took a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a really cool game. And because if you take it casually, just buy 3D prints online.
Yeah, there's some really cool ones. Like most of my dwarf stuff has been 3D prints.
Yeah, I have some, but most of my I bought AOS stuff so I could also play AOS if that ever happened. So I have a lot of Gloomspite models actually.
Yeah,
running goblins. So yeah, that's that. We don't have much to say about that, but that's out there. It's a really cool game if you're interested. And then Nick, you can just walk through kind of lastly.
Oh yeah. So probably one of my like favorite like fringe games, or I don't even know. Like it's very small, very indie. Is called Relicblade. I think I've shown you models for it before. Like it's just very like its own thing.
Which one's that?
Here, I'll link you I'll send you.
Well, just describe the models.
I would say they're more like almost like a cartoony vibe, like a comic book cartoony vibe. Just very unique, fun, interesting, like take on fantasy in general type thing.
Yeah, I think I remember those.
Yeah. So I fell in love with the models. They're all metal. It's like
I definitely remember those now that you mention that.
It's a great game. It's a fun little game. It's made by Sean Sutter. He does it all himself. But it's really cool. It's played on a 2x2 mat, and most games only take about 30 minutes max. So it's really tight, really fast. All the rules make a lot of sense. Like every character has an action dice pool that they use to do certain things. So like if they want to make an attack, they'll look at their card and it'll be like, all right, like you have a dagger, you roll 2 of your action dice to perform this attack. So you'd roll both of those dice and it would tell you what you need to do a success. But if those 2 dice match exactly the 2 dice that are on the card, you get crit hits and stuff. It's really tight, really cool. It's designed to be kind of like a quick little narrative game because you can run the characters through. They're searching for relics basically, and you'll find the relics and you'll be able to add them to your force.
So is it like more in the vein of like Frostgrave?
I would say it's a Frostgravey type game. Like a very like it's different, but it lends itself to wanting to do almost a campaign system. And most of the stuff that Sean has released is designed in campaigns. Like he's released several campaigns for it. It's very cool. I think people should check it out.
Is there a TTS mod?
There is. Yeah, we should try it out sometime.
Yeah, we should do that.
But it's really cool. It's really tight. I think the biggest drawback for it is the models are metal. Metal can be hard to work with. Yeah. But it's very
But it also brings you back, if you're as old as us, to the days when all models were metal.
Yeah.
And they broke all the time.
And it's relatively cheap to get into, I think, as well. Like it's not going to cost you nearly the amount of money like something like Necromunda or something like that would.
Or even like Blood Bowl can cost more.
Blood Bowl can be pricey. You can get into I'd say Blood Bowl is like probably a $200 commitment.
Yeah, just kind of like that's kind of like Lord of the Rings, as we mentioned earlier. It's about a $200 commitment to start it going.
I got into Relicblade. I think I got 2 armies and the book, and I paid about $100.
It's not bad,
which isn't bad.
It's like a board game.
Yeah. It's tight. Like the fact that it's just a little 2x2 game board that I can play in 30 minutes.
Is it easy to learn too?
So I was teaching a friend, so we went from 30 minutes to about an hour and a half because we were reworking through all the rules and like looking up stuff. So I'd say it's fairly easy to learn, but it does extend your playtime, like anything.
Yeah, so I guess we should just briefly, too, the games we've mentioned here, real briefly. So LLTR is probably a little bit more involved to learn, just like any GW game.
Thick book.
Thick book. We'll just leave it at that. Yeah. Star Trek, also a little bit of a learning curve, I think, but we haven't played a full game yet.
Yeah, I haven't played a full game. I think the biggest issue I'm having with that game is the book doesn't seem organized well, which is actually a problem with a lot of miniature games. But
especially if you're running things competitively.
Yeah.
look at 40K's development.
Yep.
In general, historically. So, yep. So that one's a little bit harder. Old World is hard to learn the rules. I'll just be straightforward. And then this seems like a more
I think you can
pick up and play.
I think you can know this game pretty well after playing it once or twice.
Nice.
Because like most of the stuff is right on the card. Like you have this tiny little like it's like a deck of cards, size card. So whatever that size playing card is, all the information's right there. Very simple, quick.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So any other games you'd like to mention?
Right now, I don't think so. I guess we could talk about Shatterpoint a little bit. Like that game's great.
Oh yeah.
If you're an MCP fan that wants something slightly different, but you also love
Star Wars,
I really actually like Shatterpoint a lot.
I really like it too. Think of someone described it to me like this: if every faction was kind of designed like webs. Every single faction, so the whole game is designed around kind of playing the mission.
Yep.
It's tight. It's really tight. It's not too hard to learn. Like we played pretty successfully.
Yeah.
We got a lot of rules wrong, but we played pretty successfully the first couple times. So
but that one's a lot of fun. It feels like Star Wars.
And the terrain is sick in that game.
Terrain's really
3D
cool
with multiple levels.
The one thing it doesn't really have going for it is if you're big into list building. I don't think it really scratches that itch at all.
Not really. In fact, arguably to its detriment.
Yeah, but it is also a nice game where it's like, oh, I want to play Star Wars. All I have to do is buy this one box. I'm good to go. Like, I don't have to worry about anything else.
And it's even more simpler than that for list building. Yeah. It's like, I want to play Star Wars. I want to play the bad guys. Here's 4 characters. You're done.
Yeah. It's so simple. Like, which is also nice at times. There's times where it's like,
especially if you play multiple games, you know, it's like having that game where you're like not involved pre-game as much is kind of nice.
But also a short game. Like it's quick like MCP. So you're not going to spend hours.
About an hour probably, maybe an hour and a half, Cool. So I think with that, we kind of talked more than we expected. So
it always happens.
Yeah. So thank you so much for listening. We'll be back to some MCP content very shortly. This is going to drop. Probably we're recording it now, and it'll probably drop within the hour after I'm done listening to it, because we're just trying to get some episodes out there. And so check us out. We have a Discord channel, link below or in the description. So I'm like, am I on YouTube? The link will be in the description. We'll also have a link to some of the events we mentioned and some of the games we mentioned, so you can check those out. I think our next episode, don't quote me on this. Our next episode will be MCP related. Not quite sure the details of that. But as always, thank you for listening. Am I forgetting wrap-up stuff?
I don't.
Instagram, Alive on One.
Yeah, we got the Alive on One Instagram. Yeah. Discord.
Come to our events. Yeah. TTS tournament underway. That'll be over a few weeks. And then the next one, look out for that. Go to Maine for the standoff. My mind just doesn't work anymore. Go to Maine for the standoff, and then follow that up with coming to Everwinter in January.
Yeah.
And so, as always, thank you so much for listening to us. I hope you enjoyed kind of like taking a break from some MCP stuff, dive into some other interests. And as always, Godspeed, Spider-Man. All right. Thank you.